Hello, welcome to Real Reds Talk. My name is Sam, and no, I am not Nick. I am his older, slightly better looking brother. I'm joined by two lads on the channel. Before I introduce them, you probably wonder where Nick is. He is sadly sick at the minute. He's not feeling too good, so we thought we'd give him the night off because he's on pretty much every show as it is. So we've given him the night off and let him sort of rest up. I'm joined today by... I've just come up with this off the top of my head, Dave, so forgive me. The Middleton midfield maestro. Dave, how are we doing? I don't even know if you play midfield, to be honest.
I'm doing well, mate. Anyway, mate, I've run around a lot.
Okay, fair enough. And then the Indian innovator, Casemiro. Daniel, how are we?
Yeah, just feeling the heat of this state.
Yeah, good to hear, mate. Good to hear.
I've been handling 42 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, I don't even want to imagine that sort of level of heat.
I'm already sweating.
Yeah, it's just too much. Too much for me, mate. Too much. There's a couple of people in the chat. Henry Jones, evening lads, cannot be doing with Rabiot. We had him last summer, bought Casemiro instead. He's aging. There's Lavia or Onana. But although he said Obama, I think he means Onana. I'm just going to assume.
Maybe.
He might want Obama, who knows. However, Kim Fitz as well has all the attributes Eric Ten Hag want. On the flip side, may not be able to buy Osman or Meret from them if we do have to overpay. Yeah, good points. We will get into all of that. And Adam, Rabiot is a free agent, so I'd take him. He's better than McTominay and Donny, so it's an upgrade. We need depth, just guarantee Champions League, and we're good. We're going to get into all of those opinions, all of that comments in this show, so don't you worry about it. And also, if you're new here or you're watching on the VOD or whatever it is, please subscribe. We're like 3 people away from 1,700 and we're getting really, really close to 2,000. So please help us out with that. Like the video as well. We appreciate that. So, without anything to lose, let's get into the first story. As Adam and Henry touched on, Rabiot and Kim Min-Jae are both targets for Manchester United. We'll start with Rabiot first. Manchester United are pushing to sign Rabiot on a free transfer. He is an important target for Ten Hag and has had exchanges with the midfielder as of recently. They were already in touch last summer and talks have intensified lately on Ten Hag's initiative. Along with Harry Kane, Rabiot is key to United's rebuild, part of United's rebuild in the summer. Newcastle are also in the chase for Rabiot, so Manchester United would like to complete the deal as soon as possible. That's from various outlets. I think there's L'Equipe, I think it was Henry Mavio or something like that. There was a couple of people dotted around. Obviously, we've had this prolonged chase. De Jong last summer, Dave. Went on for far too long. I think it was 12 weeks. Went to Barcelona about 4 times. They were flying hereabouts and everywhere. And then when they realised the De Jong transfer wasn't going to happen, we did chase Rabiot. The only trouble I think we had was with his agent, who also happens to be his mum. There was a bit of sort of prickliness there, or like negotiations that didn't go too well, and he ended up staying at Juventus. But obviously his contract is up this summer, so he would be available on a free transfer. Dave, first question, would you sign him, and does he go straight into play next to Casemiro?
Short answer, maybe. Long answer is, honestly, it depends on what the plan for the rest of the summer is, and who the owners are and where the budget can be split. If we decide to go all out for a big striker, Kane, for example, and we want to spend most of the money there, you might have to just suck it up and say, get someone on a free, like a Rabiot, or get someone else potentially cheap in, and look to identify targets everywhere else. However, if you're like, oh no, we really like Rabiot, we think he's the new player, then no. If he's gonna be your only signing there, I get if he's the only signing you get, and then you're not really going to spend anywhere else, then obviously not. There's I could probably name you 10 players that are better than him, but it's one of those, if you have to sort of compromise on a price for a midfielder, you could do much worse than someone like Rabiot if he's gonna come in and replace Sabitzer better, not Sabitzer, and then you look to go for okay, I've got an eye on a proper number 8 for next season once we've signed some other people we're linked with, for example, like Kane or whoever. Yeah. So yeah, short answer maybe, long answer ideally no.
Fair enough. Dan, just your thoughts on him. Dave saying he doesn't go straight in the team next to Casemiro. Would you have him as a squad player? Do we still need that sort of dynamic number 8? Do we need to spend and go out and get? I'm not saying De Jong, and I'm not going to get Nick excited if he is watching. But do we still need to go out and get that dynamic number 8, or do you think we are shopping in the bargain bin this summer? Depending on the ownership, obviously. But I've seen rumours that our budget is around 100 million plus whatever sales that we can make. Do you think that's how it's going to go this summer? Do you think it's going to be like Rabiot and Sabitzer and that's it? We don't get that dynamic number 8?
Yeah, to be honest, getting Rabiot, there are so many positives because he is definitely an upgrade to McTominay and Fred and would be a very good squad player as well. I still don't think he will be a regular starter because we have Casemiro and Eriksen just cementing those places, those positions. So, but at the same time, I see him as a very good player for us who can be utilized coming off the bench, maybe when we need a defensive, because he is good in both areas, defensive wise as well as also as on the attacking side of it. But the thing is, there are so many positives, but on the side note, how much wage you can give for a squad player, because I think they will be especially his mother will be demanding more than like somewhere around 150k. So now spending 150k for a squad player, I'm not sure how much it will work out. But yeah, definitely at this moment, with all the situations with the owner situation, it seems like if Ratcliffe comes in, I don't think he will have enough money to spend in the summer transfer, because he might have already been put all his money on buying on this club. So I think way to go will be targeting the free transfers, especially in the midfield areas, as well as I don't think at this moment Rabiot seems to be the only one person who is, I think, the best of all as comparing the free transfers. But as you also mentioned about the available amount, like somewhere around 100 million, and we need like the striker is the main player to go for all the money because that's the missing piece in our team, and getting Rabiot for free transfer would be the best option for us.
Yeah, I have a feeling like I think regardless of who our ownership is, I don't think it'll be Qatar. But even if Qatar does come in, we still need to sell well. We're still under financial constraints due to financial fair play. So either way, we're gonna have to sell well. Just read out a couple of comments, and I'm gonna ask you guys a question that wasn't on the notes, but just because I think it might be interesting. Henry Jones, personally, I think it might be harsh because I think Rabiot is a little Paul Pogba, and we know what happened with Pogba. Wow, that is harsh. Brian Casey, who is a Real Reds Ultra. If you're interested in joining Real Reds Ultras, please do click the join button next to the video. £3-4 a month. It helps run the channel, any sort of costs and stuff like that. And you get free exclusive content. A video dropped yesterday. Nick normally makes them. I occasionally jump on. Exclusive content you don't get anywhere else on the channel. Check that out. And then you get a badge next to your name. And you get some little tidbits of news as well. Nick is getting excited in the chat. He's saying De Jong. And then there's a big wet mark. So I'm sure he's enjoying himself there. The question I wanted to ask is that, like, say we go big on a striker, whether that's Kane, Osman, whoever it is, and then we only have 100 million to spend. Are you guys then happy sort of going into these sort of bargain transfers, these free transfers and stuff like that because of the financial constraints? Or do you think we need to spend the money more wisely? Do you think the midfield position and the striker are equally important in terms of this sort of summer transfer window? Dave, if you want to go first.
I think you do the best to get the players you need, even if it does mean you can't get them all in one window. So if you have to stagger it and say go for a top tier striker option / goalkeeper option, whatever this season, maybe 2 out of the 4 positions or 2 out of the 3 positions you say we really need to improve in. You go for that this season and then try and fix striker maybe next season, or you try and fix the 8 next season or whatever. I think as long as you're getting the targets that you actually want, and you're not just saying, oh, we can't get targets A, B, and C, we're going to go for target D or E. I think that's where the problem starts to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as long as you're getting the players who you think, like, right, yeah, these are really good, we really want these. But even if you can't get all of them at once, I'd say that approach is better than just getting the players you think, oh, might be good. 4 mere players instead of 2, like, excellent players, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's It's a difficult situation Eric Ten Hag finds himself in because he doesn't know who the owner's going to be. Probably doesn't know what sort of budget he's working with. So everybody's saying,
issue.
Everybody's saying like, oh, like he's not thrown players under the bus. Well, he doesn't know if there's some of these players that are going to still be here next season. Like he might have to work with them, so he's not going to chuck players under the bus or like criticize players because he might have to still work with them next season, which is really important. Yeah, Dan, if say we finish the summer transfer window, we had a top striker, but then we had Rabiot or Sabitzer, one of the two, and then a midfield, a defender like the one we're going to get onto next. Would you be all right with that transfer window, or do you think there's other areas that you would target first?
I think those for me the priority is striker, and then defender, probably the centre back one. We need very much because our standby defenders are not that great who can support while Varane or Martinez is injured. Because that's where we are dependent on Luke Shaw to come in and play out of position. So that shows that we need a centre back in that area. And then finally, I would go for another. A midfielder who can play both as a DM when needed and as a CM. And in that case, Rabiot would be the right person to go. But striker. If you give me one option to choose between all the position, I will go with striker because we need a person who can finish all those chances which we are missing in this season.
I think there was a stat. This is before this weekend's set of games. I think we've created 72 chances, which is 3 more than Arsenal, but we've scored 34 fewer goals than Arsenal, which is just...
We created like more big chances than Arsenal. It's ridiculous.
And if we've got, say, a Kane, a 20-goal plus striker a season, he's bagging 20 of them, so then that puts us in such a much better position in the league and in every other competition where we've gone out due to not taking our chances. Anyways, let's move on to the next sort of target. We've just talked about centre-backs. We'll talk about Kim Min-Jae, another Napoli player. We've obviously been interested in Osimhen, but he's another Napoli player who's might be making a move. Kim Min-Jae, Manchester United like Kim Min-Jae a lot. The player wants to play in the Premier League. There was a meeting between Manchester United and his entourage a couple of weeks ago. He's on the list since December, but nothing is agreed or decided at this stage. The release clause will only be valid in July for 15 days. I believe it's the 1st of July to the 15th of July. I think it's around about 44 million. United are interested while Napoli are still trying to offer Kim a new deal. That's via Fabrizio Romano. Just a little tack on there, I just wanted to add, Phil Jones and Axel Tuanzebe are being released this summer. They'll be releasing their contracts, so they'll be done with the club. They won't play for us. Not that they've been playing for us this season anyway, but there is heavy rumours as well that Maguire might find himself out that door as well. Dave, if we lost Maguire this summer with Phil Jones and Tuanzebe, because they theoretically could be centre back up, that leaves us quite short. That leaves us Lissandro, Varane and Lindelof in terms of centre back. Obviously Luke Shaw can play there as well, but would Kim Min-Jae be the kind of defender we should be looking to bring in, do you think?
I think he's exactly the kind of defender you should be looking to bring in. Like we need someone who's good at defending, but also extremely comfortable on the ball and ball his feet, great passing, and if you watch any of his games of Napoli in the Champions League, or if you watch any Serie A, which I do watch the Champions League though, and he's just been mint. So, and especially at that release clause price, we should be all over it. Especially because Maguire's going to be leaving too. And personally, I think we should start phasing Varane out next season.
It looks like that, doesn't it? Like he's what is he 31? Varane 30? Around that age, I think.
It's not even because of his age. It's just
but the injuries. Yeah. But again, the injuries as well. The injuries have played a part in Varane. This season he's been better in terms of injuries, but again he's had a period a month out, not fit, and then when you back up is a left back who infilt in Luke Shaw, who's been amazing by the way, but that then leaves you short in the left back position because then you're having to play Dallo, who's a right back in the left back position, and it just causes all sorts of problems in the squad. But Dan, have you watched Kim
Min-Jae? Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I was just gonna say Kim Min-Jae also has played left centre back for them this season, even though like Ten Hag prefers his left-sided defenders to be left-footed. He seems like he's fairly competent on both of his feet as well.
Yeah.
A bit like Lindelof is, and why he'll prefer to play Lindelof at centre back over Maguire. So it would help that, like Alessandro, we don't have to just put Shaw there. Shaw can still say it, like left back, as well. We don't lose Shaw's like amazing progression on the left back as well.
Yeah. I'll read out a couple of comments just because there's some interesting stuff in there. Brian Casey, Kane for 70 million. I mean, if we got him for 70 million, that'd be a miracle. I don't think Daniel Levy is ever letting him go for anything below 80 million. And then Rabiot and Sabitzer on a free wouldn't be too bad. I think Sabitzer's a 15-20. I think he's still got time on his contract, so I don't think we'd get him for free, but Rabiot's interesting. Nick, whichever way we go, position is going to be neglected, unfortunately. I agreed. And then the Jones song is in the chat. Jones, always believe in Phil Jones. I mean, not anymore. Calamista, which striker would you like to see United buy this summer? For me, I think Kane is probably the one that makes the most sense. Dave?
Yeah, Kane, if you plan to start off the striker this summer. But if not, I still think we need a couple anyway. So
I agreed.
Get Kane and let Levy's playing games, like get a younger one. Like go for someone like Hoyland from was it Atalanta or something like that?
Yeah.
He's not Atalanta.
Yeah.
He's at Atalanta.
Yeah.
But yeah, wherever he's at, someone like him, he's been linked with us. I would have said Ferguson, but I think he's not going to go this summer. But you know what I mean? Get someone like that, and then go like, if you want Kane next season on a free, maybe, which is like meant, or you want to go for someone else the next summer, just do that.
Yeah. And then Nick, one thing Kim Min-Jae offers is availability. He's played 33 games, 33 starts, average 89 minutes. Defensive partnerships are built on chemistry and consistency. Totally agree, mate. That's where Rio and Vidic have played. That's the way sort of likes of Stam and all that stuff. They've developed partnerships. Brian Casey, the best ability is availability. Agreed, mate. That's probably why Maguire played so much under Ollie, because he was available all the time. Varane wasn't, unfortunately. Dan, give us your striker who you would get this summer. And then also, I'm going to ask you about Kim Min-Jae. Have you seen him play in the Champions League? What do you think on his style, his mentality? Do you think he can make it at United and within the Premier League? Because we've seen a lot of Italian players come over and they've not been quite as good to adapt to the Premier League. And then, feel free to comment on the Phil Jones, Axel Tuanzebe situation as well if you want.
Yeah, starting with the striker situation, I have always been a bit, confused on this state because there have been two main options in Osimhen and Harry Kane. So I was leaning towards Osimhen, but the thing is both are available for almost the same price. But Osimhen will give you more years. But at the same time, you are not sure whether he'll be good to go with the very first game and be scoring goals as he's coming from a different league. And Italy league is a bit slower as compared to Premier League. So you cannot be sure whether he'll give you 5-star, the 10 ratings every game. But Harry Kane, we have seen a lot of him with the experience. But now the thing with Harry Kane is like, if you spend around 80 million, then how long will he play? He can play maybe 2 or 3 years more on the top level. If we are lucky, we can get maybe 3+ years. But at the same time, spending 80 million for 2 years, it's like I'm still confused with that, because definitely he will help us to get at least a couple of trophies, because that's where we are lacking in scoring goals. But at the same time, the cost for because then again after 2 years you will be looking for another striker with the same price tag. So, but at the same time, if we are getting Kane and if we get 3+ years at the top level, then definitely 80 million would be a steal deal for him. And also the other guy from Atlanta. I think that if we have a chance to get him, I think we should get 2 strikers, one in Kane and one young striker, just to secure our future in the striker wise. And coming back to Kim, I have not seen him, to be honest, I have not seen him playing, but I have definitely seen the stats he provides. And I think at this moment only United are going behind that player. But as the transfer window opens up, I can all sense that other big teams also will be joining the race. And And you know that whenever we are against big teams for the race, and we have never been able to secure the player. But he's, as also Nick mentioned in the comment, that was same my point also, because he has been available almost for this whole season and played every game for Napoli, and that's what we also need, because we are suffering defense wise a lot with the center backs, and that's where we are using Luke Shaw out of position, as mentioned before. But yeah, getting him, and he's still 26, so we definitely have 5 to 6 years on top level in him, so that would be a very good deal for us. But like seeing about and looking for the, I mean, the especially for the center back role, I don't think it matters a lot whenever you are shifting the league, because center back is one of the position which excels in almost all the leagues. There's a very less risk involved in when it comes to center backs. So I think he can really gel well in the center back role for United.
Yeah, no, I think he'd be, especially if, like Dave mentioned, for the price, I think he'd be a steal. But definitely, I'd definitely go pick him up. I've liked what I've seen when I've seen him. I've only seen, like Dave, I've only seen him play in the Champions League. I used to watch Serie A religiously, but I've not watched it for a long time, so I'm not sure of his sort of style in the league. But yeah, he looks really, really good. Be interesting this summer anyway. Yeah, before we get to the big main story, if you're new here, please do subscribe. There's a couple of new people in the chat I've not seen before. K Hillmeister, 100 million for a 30-year-old is a bad move. Nick said agreed, but if we can get him for 80, he can still do a job for the next 4 years. I think 4 years may be a bit of a stretch, but three years for sure. Lewandowski and Benzema, 34, 35. Yeah, a good point. And then there's a guy in there, or a girl, I can't pronounce your name because it's in kanji, and I have no idea how to read it, so I apologise that I don't know your name. Kim Min-Jae and Lee Kang are better than Son and Hwang. It's an interesting comment. This season, I'd probably agree. Yeah. Anyways, next story, before we get to the big main story with the ownership situation, I just wanted to touch on Marcel Sabitzer. He's been ruled out for the rest of the season with a meniscal injury. Having suffered one myself recently, like literally went to the doctors and got scanned for it yesterday. So I've suffered this similar injury. Dave, is this a big blow for United? We've got McTominay still a question mark at the minute. Fred's inconsistent at best. Eriksen, Casemiro not quite hitting the form at the minute like they were pre-injury and pre-sort of suspensions. Is he going to be a big miss, and can we cope with him without the sort of last 3 games of the season plus the FA Cup final?
Is he going to be a big miss? Probably not. I actually don't think he's been like very good for us, to be honest with you. I think he's been okay and like a bit meh. And like we not really asked the question, but I wouldn't sign him in the summer, even if he was on a free.
You don't think it's important to, like,
I mean, obviously it's an
squad depth,
extra body.
like, that's what I mean.
But like, at what point, like, is the body just like sort of meh, and like, what's the point of even playing him because he's not very good? You know what I mean? I'd rather have depth that's good. City's depth is like good, and that's, you know what I mean. That's the sort of depth you should be aiming for.
But when his competition is Fred and McTominay,
but I don't think that's the bar we should be looking at.
No, but that's what we've got right now. We haven't.
No, I agree. But I don't think we should sign someone just because they're better than McTominay or Fred. I think they should sign someone who sort of, at bare minimum, raises the technical floor of the club by quite a lot. If you're going to pick someone on a free, even though he might be a bit less physically robust, let's say, so I'd rather go like say, oh, go get Tielemans, because even though he might not be like physically incredible, like he's going to help you keep the ball so much better than someone like Sabitz has been doing, or even more recently like Casemiro and to a lesser extent Eriksen. But that's the sort of player on a free I'd be looking at rather than Sabitzer personally.
Dan, touch on that as well if you want. I thought you might have answered this before. Would you sign him along with Rabiot? And then if we do you think that's our midfield business like done? Because obviously with £100 million budget, a lot of it's going towards the striker. You think if it's Rabiot and Sabitzer, do you think that's it? We're not buying a top midfielder? And would you sign Sabitzer?
Yeah, so just before this injury, I was all over this deal. I was like, because to be honest, he might have not been played recently in a very good level, but I have seen him playing for RB Leipzig. So trust me, he's not even playing like 40% of that level what he was doing at the other leagues. That's where I have a soft corner for Sabitzer because I know he has the ability. And 20 million for him was if you rate him on the basis of the performance he has given in other leagues, you would definitely give him like 50 to 60 million for that player. But now in this league, he's not been that great. But before this injury, I was okay, like we can go for the player. But now, when we initially got him, the only concern for me was his injury because he is too injury prone. Even though he has not been that injured, his history with Bayern Munich on injury is not that bad because he has hardly played for Bayern. So that's where his injury has not shown up. But when he was playing in RB Leipzig, and he really struggled with the injuries, so that was one of my concern. But now since recent injury, I'm now thinking that we should not go for this deal. But if you have an option to choose between Sabitzer and Rabiot, then I would definitely go with Rabiot because he's available for free and also will give you, and his injury record is really good. So he hardly gets injured. If up to I have seen him play, and he gives a lot more than Sabitzer at this moment. But to be honest, I feel that Sabitzer has a lot to give. His technicality, his passing, his vision is so great, but it's something like it's not working out in Premier League.
Yeah,
I think Sabitzer for 20 million would be a great signing, but just not for us. Like he could comfortably go to another team in the Premier League, say who needs like a number 10 or like a forward to do that. And if they're looking for someone who's going to be like, not to be derogatory or anything, but like he could be great for someone like Fulham. Because like so Fulham are a good team. You know what I mean? Like someone like that, and I think he could be one of their standout players.
If they take him, can we steal Paulinho? If they take him, can we go get Paulinho?
See, I wouldn't even have him because I don't think he's any better at like. He's not going to be any better than like say Casemiro is at doing the things that we sometimes berate Casemiro for.
No, but I think he'd be.
And he's not as good at defending as Casemiro is.
I think he'd be a decent backup though for Casemiro.
Oh, he would. Oh, definitely, yeah.
Which is all about like squad depth. Like you've got that Lavia kid at Southampton, Paulinho, that people like that I think would be good to bring in because we can't expect Casemiro, the older he gets, to play 40 odd games a season every season. Like we need.
I actually wouldn't be looking at someone like Casemiro to come in and replace him. I'd be looking at someone more like Lavia, who has similar qualities to him, but you can actually pass in the ball and he won't just try and beat it up real.
He's gonna be popular this summer, isn't he? That Lavia with Southampton going down.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people all over that deal.
Yeah, for now I think we are looking out for mostly the bench players to fill in the bench, and we are just trying to improve the bench because I don't think Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes mainly they will be. They will be used more often, at least for next couple of seasons. And similar is the case. Same is the case for the defense line, centre back Martinez and Varane until they gets injured. So we need someone like to have very good qualities on the bench. So then it depends like how much you want to spend on a bench players.
Yeah, it's again, it leads on to my next story. It all depends on who the owners are, what the budget is, and can we sell well. Those three things determine everything in terms of our transfer window. So it's going to be interesting. So on to our final story. Sheikh Jassim's father, Hamad bin Jassim bin, I think that's his name. I probably butchered that, but we'll find out. Thani. He owns a hotel group called the Mayborn Hotel Group, and Avram Glazer, parasite number 1, was pictured walking out of the building in Mayfair and entered in Mercedes before driving away from the area. He was obviously in the area for the Women's FA Cup final that we unfortunately lost to Chelsea 1-0. Ben Jacobs at CBS Sports reports, however, Avram Glazer being at the Claridge Hotel is a red herring. There is expected important verbal back and forth with both of the parties, the 9-2 Foundation and Sir Jim Radcliffe this week. Both parties are now talking to the Rain Group. Should Sheikh Jassim increase his final offer for Manchester United, it's not expected to be disclosed to the public. Obviously, they're both under NDAs, but I think there's been a lot of PR back and forth between both sides. Obviously, the English press have been glowing positively about Sir Jim Radcliffe, and then if you go to Asia or you go to the Middle East, it's all been about Sheikh Jassim, and he's the one that's the front runner. So With the 92 Foundation, they remain confident they are not out of the race. Talks are more fluid and formal offer now that the formal offer deadlines are gone. Dave, thoughts on this? Does it seem like every fucking journalist in the world doesn't know a thing about this deal and they're just guessing and speculating and putting out PR spin? I just think the Glazers are just dragging this out to milk it as much money as possible and trying to get a best possible deal for themselves, and they probably don't even know what their decision is yet. Like, what's your thoughts on this whole situation?
Probably yes and yes. There's a mix of what comes out from journalists, isn't there? Sometimes it's quite good from the stuff that's either been... You get the mix of stuff that's been briefed, and you can tell it's been briefed, because it's just like sort of extremely positive for one and maybe slightly derogative for the other. But then you have the better journalists who sort of sift through that, determine what's actually happening, and that's the stuff you have to wait for. You're right, NDAs are at the minute and nobody really knows what's going on. So everyone's just sort of trying to create a story about it. With them going to a hotel that's owned by one of the guys, I think, to be fair, you'd have to go pretty far out of the way to get into a hotel that's not owned by one of those guys. You have to go to a travel lodge or something.
I was going to say, he's not staying in travel lodges, is he? So
no. And maybe there was some connection there and he invited him to stay. I don't know. Probably doesn't really make a difference, because those two guys that we're hearing about, Sir Jim / Ineos and the Alfani fella, are the guys who are going at it, and we don't really know. The noise is pointing to Sir Jim at the minute, but then there's all the ominous stuff in the background about, oh, he's going to submit a bid at the 11th hour, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, okay, do it then.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point. I
just want it to be over, man.
Yeah, same. I'm getting to the point where I'm sick of it. Like, just somebody buy the club, or just announce who's buying the club, just so we can all move on with our lives. Dan, you over this yet? Are you sick and tired of these stories? Like I am. On the other side of things, is how badly is this going to affect our sort of our transfer? We know we've like touched on it briefly. Ten Hag's ability to sort of prepare for next season with pre-season coming up, transfers. Can we even begin to sort of plan or think about how the squad might look, how Ten Hag might restructure, how Ten Hag might buy players and then develop all that different stuff that you sort of sort out pre-season? With this dragging on so long, are you like getting worried now that this is just going to be severely impacted?
To be honest, I have lost hope. Initially I was more lean towards Sheikh Jassim, because the only reason was like he has a lot of money, and we need a lot of money to be spent on this club, and especially on the infrastructure part of it, and then buying players, mostly like a striker and a midfielder who would cost you like more than 80 million each to build a better team. So I was totally towards Jassim, but now recent reports pointing towards Ratcliffe, and now I think the Glazers are just playing with both the sides of owners, just flirting around with each other, and I think this was just a point of flirting with the Qatari group, just to poke Ratcliffe. He might be thinking that they are going with the Jassim as owner, so they might even increase their side of money. So Glazers are simply just looking to get more out of the sale. So that's where I think at the same time the Qatari group, I don't think they will care much, because they will have other options to buy another team elsewhere. So they will not give a damn about it. They just want everything to go smooth, but only because I think he is a fan of Manchester United. It's just the report says so. That's where he is just trying more hard. Otherwise, if any other team, he would have already dropped off from this deal if he would have seen so much confusion going around. But at the same time, yeah, definitely it will affect the summer transfer window, because I think it has already seen. We are already seeing that Ten Hag is targeting more like players like to be on who are on free transfers, like Rabiot. So because he doesn't have any options now, because he cannot go for a bigger price tag players, because just before not knowing who will be the owners, and so that's why he's going for very cheaper options who will be regardless of who the owner will be. He can get those type of players like Rabiot. But yeah, that's actually it will affect the whole transfer business, because the other big teams, they start looking out for players from nowadays itself, and now United might not be able to plan accordingly, going for a big players unless they know what's the transfer budget is. So definitely it's going to affect. I'm happy that we have Ten Hag, who can deal with almost any kind of situation. So that's why he's so intelligent to go for Rabiot, because he will not cost us anything, and we will be sending out players so the wages can be covered with the under those players who are going out.
Yeah, it is worrying because like there's certain teams who are already signing players. Like Brighton have just signed that Watford striker, and he's Guadrado. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I can't remember his name. And then you hear the likes of João Pedro. Sorry, yeah, that's the guy. And then you hear the likes of Real Madrid. They're already sort of lining the dominoes up for Jude Bellingham and etc. So, and you know, City have already identified who the hell they're going for. I think they know exactly who they're going to go after. So yeah, it's worrying times for United. It's really worrying times. Please let us know in the comments who you would sign this summer. Would you sign Rabiot? Would you sign Kim Min-Jae, Sabitzer? And let us know what you think about the ownership situation with this whole speculation going on with Avram Glazers being a Qatari hotel. But like Dave said, it's very hard to find a non-Qatari owned hotel in the middle of London. So there you go. Shout out to Brandon in the chat. Hey guys, how's it going, Brandon? Brandon's a Real Red Ultra. As always, if you'd like to join the Real Red Ultra, please hit the join button next to the video and hit a like and leave a comment in the thing. Lads, want to thank you for joining us today. Obviously, I'm not used to hosting shows.
Sorry to interrupt. Just last question. If Maguire is to go out, then how much we can expect for him?
I think we're lucky if we get 40, 45.
That would be a huge
I think
amount.
that's max. I think probably less. You're probably looking to like somewhere in the 30 to 35 range.
I think.
And you know, he'll probably go to another club and smash it if they suit him right. He's probably a mix of not entirely being suited for what we want him to do, and his confidence is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
I think he can do well in slower leagues like Serie A. So if he can get.
I don't think he leaves the UK. I think he stays in England.
But if we get around 30, 35 and then we go and get Kim for 45 or 50, that would be a good deal for us to settle the centre backs.
Yeah, I think he goes to somewhere like a Villa or West Ham, something like that. I think that he ends up at that level. I think, and like Dave said, he'll probably smash it, and he'll probably look like he did when he was at Leicester, or that first game he played for us where he looked excellent. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens with sales. But yeah, please do leave comment. Leave a like on the video. Check us out on all the socials there. To the right of Dave there, I think. Yeah. So good. Follow us on all socials, Twitter. That way. That's the way. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the good stuff. Interact with us. Send us a comment. Send us some messages. We all we love hearing your messages. We love interacting with you a lot. We appreciate all the support. Lads, thank you for joining me. I know I'm not the usual host, and I know it was a bit staccato at times, but we got through it. Wish Nick the best. Hopefully he gets well soon. He's in the chat shouting Barry Maguire. I don't know why, but there you go. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back tomorrow, back to his usual self. So yeah, lads, thank you both for joining me.
Yeah, nice one, Sam.
It was a good time to have it.
Yeah, we shall see you all tomorrow. I'm not sure what sort of content it'll be tomorrow, but there'll be some form of content. Yeah, come check us out then. See you all in a bit. Bye now.